friends, welcome. We're here, it's Sunday, and I guess the show just keeps freaking going. You know? Goodness. I mean, what the heck, right? You can't go 2,000 days in a row and just be like, I quit. I thought I maybe could, I don't know, but I'm here, what the heck. I had a family reunion today. It was unbelievable to get together with all of these extended family members I haven't seen in years. My cousin put together an amazing event at his restaurant in White Plains, up on the 42nd and 43rd floors of this ridiculous building, and views to the city and views all over. I mean, it was a muggy day, it was kind of disgusting, but it was so cool. Food was amazing, but more importantly, the people and then some of the stories I was able to hear today. You guys know I've been doing the show Get to Know America for a few years now, and I haven't gone back to it in a few years, to be honest. I did it about 2.5 years ago. But I'm gonna start filming more of that, and I heard a lot of the American history and the connection, my family and the United States and when it all happened. I didn't know all of this, but apparently my grandmother on my father's side, her father was born in Portugal, and they were, if you guys didn't know this, France originally was building the Panama Canal. And when the Panama Canal was killing all these different French people with malaria, the French were like, I'm done, we're out of here. Well, America stepped in. And so America starts offering jobs to people all over the world to try to complete this Panama Canal. So my great, whatever, says, I'm single, I'm not married yet, I'm here in Portugal. I'll take the job. So he and a couple of friends go to Panama, and for 6 years they built the Panama Canal. They finished the Panama Canal. This is my ancestor. This is 1906, Manuel. His name is Manuel, and I wish I wrote down all the rest of the information. But I'm gonna get more. We're gonna do a full series here about my history and kind of dig deep and see if I can go further back, because in Portugal, they didn't really keep the greatest records. So I'm gonna have to do some searching. I'm gonna have to go and do some deep diving, and I thought it may be a pretty cool topic to create a show out of, so we may do that, the genealogy of my family. Because we all come from like the depths of time. You know, for us to be here, we're against all odds. That's why I feel like a lot of people give up on life, they give up on themselves, but the reality is your ancestors didn't give up, they kept going. They drove towards the sun on a daily basis, and they said, we're gonna make the best of it, whatever our situation is. And now we're here today after all those generations. Now I hope you have a really deep understanding of where you come from, and you have a family tree that you could actually track. But we only have 4 or 5 generations that we could track. It's Pires, Melrose. That was the great family member of mine. So Melrose goes, Panama Canal, 6 years. He gets an American citizenship for doing 6 years of labor for America. Basically, it was a territory of America's at the time. So my ancestor is now an American citizen. He gets married and he has children here in the United States. My grandmother was born here. And when she's 9 years old, the Great Depression takes place. I didn't realize this. We missed the woohoo. I didn't realize that the Great Depression was during this lifetime, this span. My great whatever was working for a specific man when this all went down, and the guy said, look, if you want to go back to the old country, you know, because I guess this guy was Portuguese as well. If you want to go back to the old country, bring your family back there, it's a better life. The US right now, we're not doing well with this depression. So he took his family back to Portugal. And then they lived there until my grandmother met my grandfather in northern Portugal when she was, I guess, like 16 years old. And then they get married. They have 4 kids, 3 kids. And my grandfather says, we got to bring the family back to America. And this was my grandmother's father's big regret, is that he moved his family back to Portugal from America. He said, America is the land of opportunity. And so he impressed that on his daughter and my grandfather. And my grandfather and my grandmother sold all their land. They had a very, very easy life there. They had horses, and they were, you know, they had like there was like a helper for each child. Everybody had their own helper. Like, they were wealthy in the terms of, and the standing of the time. they sold it all. They came to America. My grandfather busted his tail, broke his back for 50-something years before he retired. So you saw a couple of pictures tonight on the thumbnail, but I got a couple other gems here you've not seen, and I want to show them to you and just kind of talk you through them. So this right here is my grandfather. His name is Francisco Pires. Now, Grandpa Pires was an amazing man. I was 7 when he passed away. But I remember the funeral was, they say it was the largest funeral ever at this place, because my grandfather knew so many people. He was a people person, and he helped anybody he could. I heard a great story about how he got his first house today. And it reminds me a lot of the stories we used to hear of, the old stories about good people get good things that happen to them in their lives. My grandfather was working hard. He just moved here from Portugal in 1955. And for 7 years, they're renting a place, and he sees this. Every day he was working at some specific job, but he was always making small talk with people as they were walking by. And one of these guys was a judge. Every day he used to come by, and then they'd have a conversation. And every once in a while he'd say, "Hey Frank, have a cup of coffee with me." And my grandfather would sit down, and they'd have a conversation, and then he'd go back to work. And he was a carpenter. He's in all these different fields. And one of these days, it's like he's been doing this for years with this guy, 6 years. Every day they see each other. And so after about 6 years, he says, "Frank, come on, let's have another cup of coffee." They're chatting, and he says, "Wouldn't you ever like to buy a house?" And he goes, "Oh, that would be the dream, for me to be able to buy a house for my family here. We had that back in Portugal, but I moved my family here for the opportunity for the kids for the future." And this gentleman, who now had become a very good friend of his, was a judge, very respected judge in the area. And so the judge says, "Look, well, I may have something for you. My sister lives in that house over here. It's called Bell Place, is where this all went down. And my sister, she lives over here, and she's going to be going to a nursing home at some point. We're going to send her, and right now it's too much house for her, And so they worked out a deal where my grandfather bought the house from the family as soon as the sister was going to be moved out to a nursing home. But the most amazing thing about it was my grandfather was new to this country. Back then you didn't have the credit system that we have today. And this gentleman trusted my grandfather so much, and they had such a great relationship, that he held the mortgage, and my grandfather just paid for the house back from the owners, from these people. Now, the bigger story behind this, as I was learning today from my uncle, is that my grandfather was very, very much connected with the politicians in the state and in Yonkers. I didn't know this. I didn't know that the senator for the state of New York and the state of Connecticut were both at my grandfather's funeral. My uncle told me that today. He goes, he was connected with everybody because this family was massively within the party. And I don't want to say what party, but they were massively a part of a party, a political party. You could probably guess because I'm not saying it. So my grandfather, my uncle says, I remember that the son, who was also a judge, would come by like election day, be like, "Come on, we got to go hand out flyers. Come on, Frank." And my uncle's name is Frank. And so my Uncle Frank would go out with this son who was a judge, and they'd be handing out flyers. And so we learning about a lot of cool stuff. And then it all starts to dawn on me. If you guys have been here for a while, you remember how I told you that when my grandparents bought a place in New York, they had all this old stuff in the basement, and like ledgers where presidents had signed, and like different like artifacts that from the 1700s. And my grandmother, who's from Portugal, didn't know any better. She threw it all away. And the next day it was all gone. 6 months later, a year later, my father's in school for the first time. They go to like the National Museum of whatever. And he's like, "I remember that chair. Oh, we had a desk like that." And he's looking around, he's seen all this stuff, and he's like, "We had that, and my mom threw it all away." It's all priceless furniture from like the 1700s. But my grandmother, Portuguese, love you, Grandma, you're up in heaven, but what? I mean, all you had to do was save it so the family members could sell it off to somebody who's into that stuff. Oh, you wanted that chair? Yeah, let me tell you a little about it. $7 million. It's of the Hipschnaven. And you guys know, when they did it back then, the Hipschnavens, they were very good at chair making. They'd wield them. You know, some people would build them, they wielded it. You know, it was like, anyway, so stupid story. Guys, so here's a few more pictures I wanted to share with you. This is probably the coolest one, or one of them. This is my grandfather, 1962, kicking back, hold on, smoking a stogue. Can you see that? He's smoking a stogue on a lounge chair, 1962. Now this one's just comic relief. My father had a mustache for a minute. Look at that. That's my mom and my dad. And this is my Uncle Frank right here, who is also a musician. You see behind my dad, there's a couple of guitars there. I took this photo today because the guitars, my dad, Uncle Frank, my mom, it's just a cool one. Now this is one of the coolest photos, okay? This is my two grandmothers. This right here is Grandma Ribeiro and Grandma Pires. And those aren't us. I think that my Grandma Ribeiro, who's got the gray hair, I think that that's my cousin Andrew. And my Grandma Pires, I believe she's holding my cousin Raquel. I'm just not certain about that. But that is at our house in New Jersey, the one that I grew up in. There's a pool on the other side of them right now. My father built this gazebo. I remember helping him as a kid. Now this is my grandpa just being a goofball. I thought this is cool. Look at him. Look how he's looking at the camera. He's like, hey, hold on a second. You know, almost like he's gonna do a take 10 steps and pull his trigger. You know what I mean? Look at that. He's ready to go. This is 1985. 1985. Oh, he passed away in 86. Guys, this is this is 11 months before he passed away. That's my Grandpa Pires, 11 months before he passed away. This is July 4th. He died on May 4th, 1986. So it was actually less than that. It was like 10 months. And that goes to show you right there, like, I don't know, like it was a weird thing with my Grandpa Pires. He went into the hospital and he was like, hey, my stomach hurts. And they're like, oh, you have ulcers. Go home, you have ulcers. And so he goes home and it like doesn't get better. So he goes back to the hospital and they're like, oh, sorry, no, stomach cancer. And he died like a couple months, like May 4th, 1986. But the doctors got like the diagnosis completely wrong. I'm like, now again, this is like a Portuguese family here in the United States. That's first generation. I'm second. They're not litigious people, but what the man, you know, my grandpa was awesome. So they got it wrong with him and he passed away very young, 63 years old, my grandpa. This right here is probably one of the coolest photos. I had to take it. This is my grandpa, and that's my cousin Anthony who threw the party today, jamming out on a Hagstrom guitar. My Uncle Frank told me that's what kind of guitar it was. He sold that years later. But that's Anthony right there and my grandpa. And my grandpa, look at him. He's just hanging out, kicking it, playing his accordion. I love it. Now this is cool. This is my grandparents here, and I found out today this is actually my grandparents at my aunt and uncle Frank's wedding, my Aunt Lisa. And my grandma and grandpa, and I didn't realize this because grandma, just so you know, grandma, she's freaking 4'11", all right? She's a mini, 4'11". That's why I like the story behind this. I didn't get to finish the story yet, but you have to understand this. This amazing woman right here, she got on a boat by herself and she took a couple pieces of luggage and she took off for America, left her family of 4 with my grandfather behind in Portugal for 6 months to get set up to hold down a job in order for the family to come over and join her, okay? Here's the crazy thing. She did that. They come over 6 months later. It's my grandpa, my father, my Uncle John, and my Aunt Mary. And then once they're here, they join back up with grandma. They get pregnant with number 4, my Uncle Frank, and he's born here in America. And that's the story. My father was born in Portugal, moved here when he was 6, 7 years old. And this is one of the greatest people I've ever had the honor of knowing. My grandfather, unfortunately, passed away when I was 7. So I don't have all of these memories. I wish I had more memories of him, but I do have memories of him playing his accordion. No, I'm sorry, his organ, which I had photos of the organ. I don't know where the heck I put it. Oh, they're on my phone. I have others. Hold on, I did this. I'm going to show you. Let me see if I could show this to you. Okay, So let's go through a couple more photos that I was able to get. This is my grandpa playing guitar. Now, I don't know if you guys see a resemblance there, but I see myself when I look at this photo. That's my dad's ridiculous noggin behind you, by the way. Look at that stupid head of hair. I always joke with my dad, I'm like, what the freaking heck? You know, like what hairdo is that? And he's like, oh, that was the Pavlova. What do they call it? Like the pompadour. Everybody doing a pompadour back in the 60s. My grandpa's there, cooling it out with his acoustic guitar. And he's trying to keep a straight face. He's laughing, he's smiling. I think the reason he's mostly laughing is because of that freaking nog, my dad's nog there. Look at that, I'm gonna zoom in on dad's nog. What are we doing? What are we doing with that head? Oh, Dad. Oh my goodness. I don't think my dad will see this. I'll try to send this little video to him so he can get a kick out of this. But that's my dad's nog right there in the background. And my grandpa. Look how freaking cool he is. I mean, I just love that photo. I just see so much joy. I bet he would have loved the beat seat is right, Evan. It's funny you say that. I was thinking to myself because one of the photos you're going to see, he's rocking out and he's doing something. I dropped a piece of content earlier. It's a photo of my grandpa. It's the greatest photo I've ever seen in my life. You're about to see it. And when I saw it, I stopped in my tracks. And I was like, I know that look. And it was like me for a second. It was really weird. And so we're going to look at that. But this right here, when I saw him holding an acoustic guitar, and he was an accordion, he was an organ player, harmonica, but kind of similar to what I've taken on, I guess, is I could play any instrument. My grandpa used to play every instrument. This is his harmonica here. I've got it, which is amazing. He used to rock out on this thing. It needs to be clean because, yeah, it's not. This whole back end's not even working anymore. The reeds are all broken. But I have that as a piece of memorabilia. Remind me of my grandpa whenever I need that type of, I guess, nostalgia. But let's show you a couple more of these photos because I think they're special. There's Grandpa Pires right there. Didn't even know he ever picked up a guitar. That was awesome to see that. Because I always thought organ, accordion, piano, you know. But, man of mystery. This right here is what else we have. This is my grandpa in Portugal. They used to ride horses everywhere. How cool is that? Like, I absolutely love that. And I don't know if I can make this bigger, but just look at the man. Look how cool this dude was. That's my grandpa right there. The horse is beautiful too. There's a story about one of these horses. I don't know if this is I bet you this is the one. My father said that there's one of the horses they had was so connected to the family and protecting the family, take care of the family, that it always, when they brought it back in, it would come back to the barn, and then as it was backing in, it could clear. But my Aunt Mary was sitting on top of the horse, and it knew that my Aunt Mary was sitting there and that it could clear, but my Aunt Mary wouldn't. And it would back in, and it would go down on its knees and then go back on its knees so my Aunt Mary wouldn't get knocked off and get hurt. And my dad used to tell me stories about this horse. I'm pretty certain that's the horse because he said it was my grandfather's favorite horse. And if you look at that horse, my grandpa took very good care of that horse. Look at how the hair is all cut, be perfect. That horse is just like, it looks like it's something special to him, you know? That's a cool photo right there. So let's see what else we have from Grandpa Pires. Guys, if you want to see this, please head over to YouTube. You don't want to miss this. All these photos are priceless to me, but just to see it, a moment in history. Most of these photos are from like 1945, 1960, and they're of my grandfather. I'm not here without him. He was a self-taught musician just like me, and he played a ton of instruments like I play. And I know that he's been gone since I was 7 years old, but if he knew I invented the only drum in the world for solo musicians, he would have been pumped to be sitting on the beat seat. I'm certain of that. This right here looks to me exactly like my cousin Frankie. Like this is dead on. Like that's my cousin Frankie, like 1,000%. I didn't know my grandfather was in the military in Portugal. Found out a lot today, guys. So that's another piece of history right there. My grandfather serving his country. Now, I also didn't know my grandfather was a Kill It and Grill It fan. Like, what? Look at Grandpa Pires, the pheasants. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 pheasants. That's around the front. He's got the chance of there being at least 2 or 3 behind the hiney butt. So he's got maybe 7 pheasants with the shotgun. Yeah, he's ready to go. Barella, I'm sorry, I don't think he used an axe. Barella said, all right, you heard it. Mark said, head over to YouTube. I'm going. They're all on YouTube. You guys got to head to YouTube. Mark Inspires. It says it right there. Just type that in on YouTube and you could hang out with Barella, who's now heading back to YouTube from YouTube. That's how we do it here. Kill It and Grill It. My grandfather went by. He was the first handle, like at Kill It and Grill It. Grandpa Pires. Pheasant Hunter. It's a new series on Edge Network. I don't even know. I don't watch TV anymore. Spike. That's another one, I think. So here we go. Let me get the one. This is the shot right here that blew my mind when I saw it. That look. That look right there. The phone is ringing, guys. I gotta take this. Hold on. No. Gotta get the kids to shower, because apparently they haven't done that yet. See how that works? Let's see, here we go. All right, oops. All right, so let's get back. We have Clapper on with us, and I want them to make sure they don't miss the rest of the show. Oops. Okay, guys on Clapper, YouTube. That's where the show is best. Plus, you don't want to miss Chris Donaldson and Virginia and Barella. Grandpa Pires. Look at this look, guys. Look at that look. Do you see it? Do you see that? It's the same look. I've had it 2,000 days in a row here when I look off with the guitar in my hand. It's the same look. Expressing. Locating, being. Look at his hands. He's not posing for a photo. He's freaking rocking out right there. That. My favorite photo I've ever seen of him. That's 1962. 62 years ago. Isn't that? It's kind of weird in a way. 62 years after the year 1900, my grandpa's sitting there with an accordion in his hand. 62 years after my grandpa's sitting there with an accordion in my hand, his hand, I'm sitting here having gone live 2,000 days in a row, invented the only drum in the world for guitar players. I write songs every single day in the moment. That's my grandpa. So do I quit? Fuck no. That's my grandpa. Look at that look. If I give that look up to take in the negativity of this world on a daily basis and forget about, even if it's for a fraction of a moment, finding that on a daily, my soul is ruined. So things are shifting clearly. It's not going to be the same show because I can't come on every day and do an hour. can't come on every day and just play clips and just do an hour plus. But I can pop on and just at least express myself a little bit so I could find that. There's total peace in that look right there. Whatever he was playing in that moment, I just wish I could be there and hear it because it was magical. What he was playing in that moment was magical. And I could see it. I could see it. It's interesting today too. I mean, I'm around these amazing family members that have gone in their own direction all over the country for the last 25 years, 30 years. And we're connecting for the first time in that long. How's life? All my cousins, we all have kids. My kids are now older. Their kids are babies, but they're getting bigger. And it's like, this time we get is so short. It's over like that. So what are we doing? So concerned, and one of my cousins, Joe, he goes, everybody's so concerned with what everybody thinks. If we stopped worrying about what everybody thinks about us, we'll be in a better place. I said, well, that's my problem, Joe. I haven't given a crap what anybody thought of me for 2,000 days. I just showed up and I was me. And I said, and he goes, but the people can't handle the truth. If you boil it down to, okay, we're gonna just talk about the truth every single day. As a whole, people can't handle the truth, he said today. And I'm like, never really thought about it that way, that people just can't handle it when they are hearing something counter of what they hear when they tune into the news or whatever. They can't handle the truth. It's like Jack Nicholson comes out of nowhere. You can't handle the truth. I sit 90 miles from 3,000 Cubans that want to kill me. Who's going to help me? You, Lieutenant Caffey, right? You, Lieutenant Weinberg. Did you order the code red? You're gosh darn right I did. Guys, he just admitted to the code red. You know, sometimes you get out-lawyered by Tom Cruise. Anyway, that's my grandpa right there. And it was just pretty cool. Like I said, this was just amazing for me to see all this today and to come across my grandpa kicking it with a stogue. I'm like, that's just cool. It's just so cool. How's everybody doing out there? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Family Reunion Hour. Like I said, to me, this was a very awesome experience. I saw a lot of people that I may not ever see again. That's the other thing that's quite alarming and real. This is possibly the last time that all of those same people will be in a room together. My cousin had the most amazing speech to the family, and I could tell he was having a hard time, getting through it because we've lost some great family members. We lost, he pointed out today, an entire section of our family. The whole family is gone. The kids passed away tragically younger, and one of them recently, and the other two passed away, the parents. And there's nobody that represents that family anymore in the room today. And he brought that up, and it was, and I was remembering them, the people he was talking about, because I do remember them well. And you realize how fragile this life of ours is. We don't have any time at all. We get this literal moment, and it never stops. Hopefully, you're able to drive towards something meaningful for yourself every single time you center on it. We're kind of controlled by the distractions of this world because there's so much that you gotta swim through it somehow and see some sort of sunlight. You gotta be able to recognize what you're being fed. And please do your best to try to lift people up. We need that more than ever right now. I realized today that some families are closer than others. But we should understand that no matter how divided families can get, the root from which that family has dug itself into the ground, it starts and it's all you. You're all just the limbs from that root. And it's like, I don't know, every tree limb goes in a different direction because everything's living a different experience. But you have to understand that you start at that root and get back together. We need to lean on each other more, especially in this day and age. We're going through some very, very turbulent times emotionally. The society that we're living in is so fragile right now. They're adjusting reality on a daily basis by forcing you to see things that you'd never want to look at. You have no interest in constantly being reminded that certain things are in this world. You want to stay focused on positive things. And if you're seeing on a nonstop basis different political activists and groups that are constantly in your face saying, hey, look at me, change the channel, okay? You don't need to see any of that. When I was a kid, we lived in a world where people did what they wanted to do. You just don't try to be a cheerleader and get every single person in the world to join your team, especially when whatever the heck you're pushing or pitching is very, very niche and weird. You know what I mean? It used to be that you just kind of slap those ideas down. You say, do you, dude, but don't talk to X, Y, or Z. Now, those things are the most protected things out there. So be very careful. We're living through turbulent times, as I said. If you're doing good, you're considered kind of against the grain and you're not really helping their cause of division. So don't be that guy. Don't be the guy who falls into the trap of saying, you know what, I'll do what they want me to do. So another lesson I learned today is, this time is flying, so don't stop being who you are. You just have to learn to shut your mouth on certain things. And I'm trying my best to do that. As you said, I was pretty cryptic about that. Not really doing the comedy news here anymore, but what I'm doing is not talking politics. It doesn't do us any good. We're not going to ever come together on politics. So it always goes back, and it will always revert to the conversation I had with my parents when I was 12, which was, don't talk about religion, politics, or money. Those are divisive subjects. You will only make enemies and you won't make friends. And that's wonderfully accurate advice. But we're living in a time where all they show us in our For You page feed is religion, politics, money, and other topics that are very divisive. So recognize it. It's the first step. You need to recognize it so you can laugh about it when you see it. I don't think so, Kathy. I think I'm going to just be adjusting a touch here, but you will be seeing a lot of real estate content, and I'm not holding the streak close. It's not something like, I got to keep the streak. At least I did 2,000 days in a row. You know what I mean? If for some reason along the way here in next week, 10 to 20 days, whatever, if I just decide to stop or I can't because I'm busy, I'm not going to break my back to get the show on the air. I did that for 2,000 days in a row. It didn't matter, so I don't think, to the point, if I had missed a day, the same people would have been back the day I went back. So it's not like the streak matters. It's just something that no one's ever done before, so I should at least keep it intact for a little while here, and then we'll go from there. I'm probably going to, just so you guys can kind of, if you're very interested in seeing what I do next, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff during the day, I hope. Even if it's just a couple minutes here to talk about some topic or to try to interview somebody on the street, that type of thing. And I don't know, it's going to be that for a bit. And I have to engineer everybody towards understanding I'm a realtor. I'm not an entertainer by profession. No, I show up here every day, and I did it for a very long time. But I think the idea of talking about the streak, mentioning every day, it's day 2000, it's day 1996, it's day 1998. It gives this wrong impression to the people who see that like, oh, well, if he's going 2,000 days in a row, it must be because he's making money at it. And it's like, no. Yeah, so I think it's going to take other people to recognize and share that with Guinness, because I've tried a few times now and they're like, no, we can't figure that out. Like, I don't even know what to category. I've tried different categories. I put in a longest running daily shows and it never comes up as the right thing. Like, they have specific things. They have like longest daily vlog. This is not a vlog. This is a variety show daily. And I'm pretty sure if we were to figure out if anybody's ever done this and gone, long form for 2,000 days, I don't think so. But again, it hasn't generated the active audience that it should have, and it didn't, and it may not. So I think it's going to have to just be the show. It is what it is. I'm not going to, push myself thinking that the next piece of content is going to do anything, because 4,700 pieces of content before have not. We get lucky if I get a couple hundred views per piece of content. So I'm going to just do what I can to make a living, and I'll try to just carve off a little bit daily if I can, just to say what's up. But I'm also hesitant on that, because I also don't know. I feel like the streak may be holding this show back in a weird way. It's like this, he's okay, he's still here. I'm not going to tune in again. I'll come back next month. And that's the thing that's caused people to miss hundreds of songs. Like Christine Seidman, who came in the other day, and she was like, oh my goodness, Mark, your guitar playing has gotten so much better since I saw you. I'm like, she hasn't been in about 6 months. Do you know how many songs she missed in the last 6 months? 100, 120? And so, yeah, the guitar playing is getting better every day. And if you miss 6 months, then you're seeing leaps and bounds. And it would be pretty cool if I was able to figure out how to generate some income for the show, because in 6 months' time, if I was to continue doing what I've been doing for 5+ years every day with that guitar in my hand, you only get better. You only get better the more you work your craft. And that's the one thing I can say is true and proof on this show from the 16 albums I've released. If you start on album 1 and you just go one by one, you'll hear the progression of how much better I get on the guitar from album to album. And 13 of those albums were done 13 months in a row. I wrote songs all month and then I put an album out. I wrote songs all month, then I put the next album out. I did that for 13 months in a row. 169 songs were written and then edited and released in 1 year on the show, in 13 months on this show. And then I also did number 170, which was the Freedom Convoy. That's on iTunes as well. And I wrote all these songs live on the show, edit them, drop them on a 13-song album. Again, 30 days, I wrote 13 awesome songs, edit, release. Next month, 30 days, one of them was 28 days. I wrote 13 songs, released that album. We did that for freaking 13 months. And when I got to month 13, I did a 169th song, and I still had no listeners to them on iTunes and Spotify. I was like, I thought if I did 13 albums in a row that we'd get some play. We'd get people be like, wow, a guy's putting an album out a month? Yeah, live for 2,000 days in a row, 13 albums in a row, 10 feature films, and 4,700 pieces of content in the last 5 years. How many of them have you seen? That should be the new question, Q&A. How many pieces of content have you seen from Mark Pires? 99.9% of people are like, I've never seen that dude in the history of time. But the content is there. So today what I realized when I saw this, and I saw that picture of my grandpa, that picture right there, when I don't know what he was playing, I don't have it. I was not there. I wasn't present to listen to the notes coming out of his accordion. But his grandson recorded it all. All of these moments that his grandson experienced, live in the moment here on this show, that were recorded and then edited and released on 16 albums, they're here forever. Unlike that moment of my grandpa's, which is lost in time. My songs are here. Whether you like them or not, whether you ever find them, they're there. There's 209 songs released so far, and I'm gonna just keep dropping. I'm putting out another 15 albums at least. I got so much music. Music comes out of our ears here on this channel. I can write a song right now, but you know what? It's 40 minutes in, it's Sunday night, and I was supposed to quit the show yesterday. So I'm gonna keep it short here. But I will say this. Quite interesting. that the day after day, 2,000 in a row, I have a family reunion. And I intended to tell everybody today I'm stopping the show. In fact, I told my cousins, 2 of my cousins that today, and they were like, why haven't, one cousin goes, I haven't seen you post anything except for like real estate stuff the last few weeks and like the town thing. It's cool, but like, you know, what are you doing? I was like, I'm done. I was like, I can't post any more music and I can't post any more of my comedy. Nobody seems to like my comedy. I was like, I can't post any of it anymore because it's not getting me anywhere. And she's like, you got to do what makes you happy though. I'm like, yeah, but unfortunately I got to make a living, you know? And if I'm giving people the wrong impression by putting out songs, just because I can write a song in the moment and I do it every night, I can't, apparently I can't, I have to have 2 different personas. The guy who doesn't do anything but sell real estate, apparently. So then people, because who's out there is going to say, oh, I want to hire the guy who's put out 209 songs and 10 feature films to list and sell my house. You should, because I'm freaking creative as hell. But I need to get that. I need to be at the table again to be interviewed and have a shot to win that listing. That's what I need to have happen in the next 6 months. You know, this is, we're going to get tighter and tighter the closer we get to the November situation that's coming up. So I need to start figuring it out. And the only thing that makes sense to me is somehow getting to the few buyers or sellers that are out there and get them to say to themselves, I want to hire this guy because all I see is he's producing content that's real estate related, you know? Man, it fucking kills me that I can't just show up here and grab that guitar and just tear it up for you, you know? But I still think it all comes down to the other side of the screen. This has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with how active the audience gets on this show. So I do implore you and I please ask you, check, have you hit the like today? If you haven't yet, please do so. And if you're a mod, have you asked people to hit the like yet today when you see them pop into the chat? These are questions I have to ask because I never think about that stuff. But the action steps that are taken by my mods, not just S-Coop does everything, but by the mods that are here with me. If I gave you a blue wrench, it's not just to hang out here. It's for you to do some work while you're here. It's to bring people in and remind them we're here again tomorrow. Ask them to tell a few friends. Because this show grows, I'll be back. But if we can't, like I saw Barella was like, where is everybody from yesterday? Same 6 people back again? Like, where is it? And I had to laugh because it's like, yeah, that may happen. But if you guys like this show, and if you're new and you found this show and you want this show to grow, and you want me to somehow keep going, 2,000 days and beyond, we're here 2001, but you want me to keep going, help. Tell some people before I have to quit. And then it's just, it is what it is. The shows are there, the songs are there, the music's there, the comedy's there, but I'm more than willing to keep going. I just need an active audience in order to make that happen. And yesterday was a good show. You guys came out. I think there was something like 200 plus views for the show. We need that every night. I need to have like 500 to 1,000 views on a daily basis, or else no one's going to want to advertise on my channel. Or no one's going to want to ask me to read their business ads unless I can generate that. And I think this show's worthy of that. I mean, we connect. This is authentic stuff. I don't have a script. I show up here and I grab a guitar and I write a song, or I kick on a fucking drum that never existed until I invented it and patented it. And it may be terrible. I don't know. But it's deserving of at least some eyes to say, I hate it or I like it, you know? So if you can, share, let people know we're done. Of course. What's that, Joanne? Oh, freaking A, Joanne. She's back with the wheeze, guys. I just can't stand it when she does that. You know? So guys, important times spent. Family reunion. 45 minutes in. I still did almost an hour. Freaking real. I do hope to see you tomorrow when we do it again. I remember a lot of people joined during Mark to the Future. Mark, Back to the Future, Mark. Are there plans for new movies soon? Well, I've got the Shands movie, never was edited and released. I almost had the Sensei Round Eye movie complete. That stuff's all on the channel too. I just have to go and locate it. So theoretically, there's already 2 movies that are done in my head. I just haven't completed the edit yet. And also kind of because the Shands thing, I just don't know if it's funny or not. So I don't know if I'm going to release it, to be honest. It's all there on the channel. You can go watch when I filmed the Shands stuff, but I'm just not sure anymore if anything I create is funny. It's like, I think that was potentially funny, but I go back to trying to remember, and it's like, kind of becomes a fog. There's way too much stuff created here. So that has the ability to be very funny if I put the other voices in, because I'm talking to all the other people on the screen on all these movies. And if I add the voices from the other side of what these people are saying to these characters, it may be funnier. Because I always thought it was funny that you have to use your imagination, but I realize, you know, it's like when you go and sell real estate to people, something we say is that to the 90th percentile, people have zero vision. It's not to be offensive, it's just the truth. You have to show things to people. And so same thing when it comes to my comedy. I have to do the voices of the weird things I'm interacting with, the people that aren't there that I'm making up comedy with. Sometimes this period of time is long enough, sometimes it's not, and I have to say something in there that is funny and still works. But the reality is, what's that, Zabrowski? I do a lot of that, and I'm talking to nobody. Ms. Zabrowski is not here, okay? What? No, Zabrowski, no offense, but you're kind of transparent, buddy. You know, so that, if I go back later and show you that, I'd be like, whoa, how you not, you know, I can say something as Zabrowski, and all of a sudden, we have a 2-voice piece of comedy there. So Shands, I guess, has the ability to be funny. I don't know. Guys, I put shoes on my hands, and I said I was wearing Shands. To me, that's funny, you know, and it's a Grimm movie. You remember the movie Grimm, or the show Grimm? I redid Grimm, but as the guy, the main guy, David, whatever is Burkham, I put Shands on. And I move faster. I'm double, you know, I'm running with the hands and the feet, you know, put on my Shands. Remember when I had to go and dissect the body on the ground with my Shands, you know? Sometimes when you have an itch, that's a tough one when you're wearing Shands, you know? Anyway, yeah, I created that. It's on my channel, and if you saw, remember Hank and all these people from that show? You got a background of them, and I'm like there, like dissecting stuff on the ground. Oh man, it's so nuts. But I don't know if it's funny. I just think of stupidity. Like I created a bunch of movies here live in the moment. Back to the Future, Mark. If I could go back and edit that one over, I'd edit all of them over. I'd take out the word freak out of almost every single one of my movies, so you don't hear me say freaking all the time. It's a filler word. Some people use words like and I say the word freak. I usually don't use ums very often. I'm pretty much over that at this point. 5+ years of showing up every day without a script. I just move past the moments where I don't know what to say. No, I just look at you. You know? Sig Sauer in the house. Goodness. When you're here and Sig Sauer comes out, it's a good time. YouTube, guys, if you're not on YouTube right now and you haven't typed in Mark Inspires on YouTube to subscribe, to turn on all notificaciones, I have to question your interest in being a part of the longest running daily variety show on the planet. This is 2001 days in a row. Is that fucking mental or what, right? I got Stanley Kubrick in the back. He's coming out to tell you all about the moon landing that he created. What? No. Zabrowski! They think we went to the moon. You guys are crazy. You think we went to the moon in that cardboard box with the aluminum foil wrapped around the outside? Vacuum of space. You know? One small step for man off of this little rocket here in Cape Canaveral, Florida, back onto the ground. The surface of the moon that you created here on the soundstage. Kubrick, right? You guys know it. I saw the documentary film with the filmmaker himself where he said, I did it. I made the whole thing up. NASA, they're like, Kubrick, you're the bomb. everything you do is awesome. We saw the Space Odyssey, you know, and we were thinking maybe you could do a moon landing for us, because I don't know if you realize it, but we're shit. You know what I mean? We're here at NASA. We could do math, but flying a rocket to the moon, what's that? Yeah, I know, it's stupid. You guys, Kubrick, he's telling us it's stupid to say we went to the moon. I know, Kubrick, that's why we need somebody who's really good in order to fool the people for 60 plus years. Can we do that? 50 something years, all right, Kubrick? We just have to get through the next 50 plus years till all those people are dead. Then the future generation will tell them we made it all up to beat the Russians. Guys, Cold War. It's an interesting time in history. That was when Kennedy came out and said, we chose to go to the moon and all that, because it's not because it's easy, because it's hard, right? And then they shot him in the back of the head for that, because he wanted to go to the moon. Kennedy. Some say it was the nice old lady in the book depository took out a Ruger rifle. They make it. Sig will tell you all about it. The Ruger rifle. The shot rang out in Dealey Plaza. Was it Oswald? It's a nice old lady, you know, in the depository over there. Some say she was by the bush over there. Depository. So guys, I just you have to go over the historical facts from time to time. Kubrick. So let's see who's on with us so I can say thank you for kicking it with me. Hope you were as surprised as I was that I'm back today. But you shouldn't be, because on day 1,000 in a row I said I'm going to quit tomorrow. And then I did another 1,000 days. And then to do the family reunion the day after I'm supposed to quit day 2,000 in a row. And then see my grandpa. Signs, my friends. Signs. Andrea O'Neill. A Barella. That's how you have to say it. I don't know if you guys realize it. You can't just be like, Barella. You gotta be like, Barella. If you don't do the rolling R. We do the rolling R here on the Mark Inspire show. Barella. Right? And then, of course, Chris Donaldson in the house. Kathy Paena. Are you in Hawaii, Kathy Paena? I don't know why I always feel like you're in Hawaii, because the paella. You gotta get some paella while you're in Paena County. That's actually a small district in Hawaii, the Paena County. If you guys didn't know about it, Kathy will put you up for the night. Kill it and grill it. Did you see the story earlier? My grandfather, pheasant, kill it and grill it. The original kill it and grill it. Francisco Pires. My grandfather. He had at least 74 pheasants on him. You see in the photo. 74. You thought you were going to kill it and grill it? My grandpa, he is shooting pheasants. Bing, 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 right? Oh, goodness. Leisure, number 7, my friend. S-Coop. Only the greatest moderator in the history of time. At 6 Hour, my brother, who was moderating like a mofo for a long time for the show, till Sig got a little too cool for the show. He's like, you know what? You guys are good. You don't need 6 Hour. We needed the 6 Hour. We've been here waiting for it. I'm into it. Trish knows. She was like, are we doing 6 Hour? Yeah. I made a piece of content for 6 Hour. It's called How Dare You 6 Hour. Go check it out. It's hilarious. Trish Killian! Oh, goodness. We talked about Weasel Frauchi today. If you didn't know it, Trish Killian's husband, Rich, he made me a Weasel Frauchi face, and I wore it. Not proudly. A little more proud than I did the mask, though. You know. What? No, not the Rocky Dennis mask, the stupid... No. I'm talking about when you put the Dr. Weasel Frauchi mask on, and you say, where are your masks? Put on 4,747 masks.
Put them on backwards. You wear 10 on your back. You wear 48 on your front. Put them on your ears. You got masks coming out of your ears. Dr. Weasel Fraudsy approved.
Right? You guys know. You were all pumped. You're like, I can't wait to go get my masks and my bugaboo for the 10th time. Guys, can I just ask you, if it doesn't stop you from getting or spreading, what are you boosting? Right? Bing bong. Ask your doctor that, you know? Oh, doc, you want me to take the 19th one? Because there's a new strain? Just a quick question there, doc. What are we boosting? Oh, your immunity. Let's just review that word for a minute. What does that mean exactly? Well, you still get it and you can get sick and you can spread it. But you should do it. It's not as bad. Like, you won't get it as bad. That's what you do. You're boosting your chances of not getting it as bad. You can still get it though, like more than the person who doesn't get anything. How many years in? How many years in? Right? He's talking to my cousin today. He goes, I didn't take any of that shit. I said, me neither, motherfucker. You kidding me? I'm here. 2,000 days in a row. Would I have been able to do 2,000 days in a row if Dr. Weasel Fraudsy was able to beat me in the mind game, the wrestling match that he gave us for the last 5+ years?
Weasel Fraudsy approved. It's anecdotal.
Guys, remember that?
Oh, the schmeiverschmeckton is anecdotal. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. You're a guinea pig. A bugaboo.
The amount of comedy that we created is Weasel Fraudsy. You can tell your friends about it. Right, Tupac? Guys, when Tupac Shakur is here, back from the dead, you know, we found him, Puerto Rico. He was like out in a club just to be like getting into it, you know? My mama told me what you did right. I'm gonna born you to come when you're better. You're like, dude, there's Tupac. Is he coming back to the States? Uh-oh. Oh, God. Tupac. I can't wait for him to make his reappearance with JFK. Oh, yeah. I keep seeing stupid things like that. Like, yeah, he's coming back. I'm like, guys, dude died in a freaking in a plane crash, 1999. You know, I remember it like yesterday. Jacqueline Bissett Kennedy, Onassis, O'Connor, the 19th. It would be cool, though, if he was like, I faked my death for 27 years. To come back now. You know, my uncle, by the way, he's trying to run. We're going to go against each other, you know. He runs, I run. We should do a double ticket. Like, I'm JFK Jr. and RFK Jr. on the same ticket. I'd vote for him. I'd vote for him. Maybe even if he's dead, I'll still do it. I'd vote for both. You tell me that RFK Jr. his running mate is JFK Jr.? I'm freaking in. You know, I'm on for the ride. Look, we used an AI version of JFK Jr. I'm fucking cool with that. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? As long as we get the double Kennedy deal. I'm not in for one. Yeah. Oh, guys, I love being silly for you. Bubba News, my friend. Like I said, I don't even know if that stuff's funny. I just like to say silly things, and I think it's funny, but maybe it's not. I was gonna run off the screen. Look, guys, and then, you know, where did he go? I was hiding. I used the, you know. Right? You know, sometimes when you're the ultimate magician and you fool everybody. Sir Diddy, how are you, my friend? So basically, guys, I almost added Bubba said. That's how they do it, guys. Just in case you're like, how do they disappear like that? They were just there and then now they're gone. Dropping it, running. He's behind the wall over there. No such thing as magic, guys. Just stupid people. Just kidding. Some of the magic is so good. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I am out of my mind. Kathy says, Mark, you take me out of my own messes. This OCD person who turns it upside down every Sunday for 8 years. You're awesome. Magic Johnson. I have cards. One of these days I'll do some magic tricks for you guys. I actually can do very good magic tricks. Right. I take him out. I start throwing cards at you. The best trick, the card comes through the screen. You get hit in the face. You're there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is cool. I'm watching Mark. Bang, biggity boo, in the face with the card. 3 of clubs. I told you. You were like, 3 of clubs. Bang. You know? How did you know? Guys, magic. You're there thinking, he'll never know that I chose the 3 of clubs. Bang, biggity boo, you got a slice here on your head. We're calling you scar forehead. Scar head. Scarface. We'll go Scarface. Oh, that looks nasty. What happened? Did you get stabbed in the face by like a robber? No, I was watching a magic trick. Got hit in the face with a card. Ow! Mother! Hit this broken ass finger from softball the other day. I'm like, let me smack my hand against it. Gosh almighty, Joanne, always wheezing back there. Are you freaking kidding me? That was Joanne? Joanne, that was disgusting! When you tooted like that. What's that? No, Joanne, it wasn't me, it was you. Anyway. Tomorrow, we'll be back. Oh, goodness, guys. We know it's 1 hour and 4 minutes. Joanne, I'm going to blame you for that one. I was supposed to do a 25-minute show, maybe 30. You come out here, you're doing a wheeze, and then I got to reprimand you for the fart. What's that? No, Joanne, that was you. You just didn't realize it squeezed out of your hiney butt while you were wheezing. Good old Joanne. Guys, when she does drop a tutor, the neighbors die. No good. It's sad. We had like 5 neighbors in the last couple months. You know, like what happened to the Joneses? The whole family, one by one. They were old though. I mean, no kids. Just like cousins and upon cousins. They all lived together, right around the corner, just dropping like flies. We only realized a few weeks later that they're downwind of Joanne. So, until tomorrow, fam and friends, make sure you're not downwind of Joanne. I mean, that's just like just trying to help you out. Oh, goodness. Joanne is a fart smeller. I mean, smart feller. You're funny. Kill it and grill it. Kill it. You got to go back and see that picture of my grandpa with the pheasants. Nuts. See you tomorrow, man. You got to go. BDP, my friend. See you all.